Hi everyone, this is MonteCristo from ggChronicle, and of course, standing next to me is Snoopeh from CounterLogic Gaming.EU. So let's start this off. It's currently day 2 of the World Championship playoffs here in Los Angeles. You guys are up first thing tomorrow morning playing against World Elite. They've got a brand new lineup. How are you feeling about playing against their new lineup tomorrow?
I'm feeling pretty confident. We played against them about 14 days ago roughly at the League of Legends 1-year anniversary in China, and we were actually kind of messing around a little bit in that game, and I think they were taking it a bit serious, so I think we stand a good chance of beating them tomorrow.
Not to mention you lost that game. I think it was 76 minutes long, but Wicked couldn't auto-attack as Aurelia for what, the last like 12 minutes of that game?
Yeah. So we had like 4 team fights where Wicked wasn't actually auto-attacking, so if we almost won the game when it was 4v5, I think to say like I have high hopes for tomorrow morning.
You're going to ban TF's Messiah, right? Or Messiah's TF. Wow, that came out wrong.
It's like Nebia Froggen, yeah. No, I probably would ban, probably ban his TF for sure. I think they really rely on our early aggression that TF provides, like level 6-ish, and I think we're probably going to ban out him, and a couple other things that I'm not going to discuss just now.
So, since World Elite has made these large changes, and you've been actually, practicing in Korea, I know you've been to Taiwan. Did you play against World Elite's old lineup at all? I actually don't know the answer to this, and if so, do you think that they've improved since they brought in their new support in jungle?
I think their lineup is the same as the one they had at OGN group stages. I'm not 100%. It's not? It's not? Okay, well. When we played them in OGN group stages, we beat them there. We went 3-0 in a group, and it was actually a pretty comfortable win. I still rate Messiah very highly. He's a very good player, and I think he can definitely carry the game himself. So we need to watch out for him. I don't really know much about their new lineup. We probably played them in China. That was 14 days ago. So I hope I've not changed their lineup in 14 days, because that's pretty bad. But I still think we can play against. Like I still think we have it. We've been together for a long, long time, and they change the roster like frequently. So we know our strengths and weaknesses inside out. Like they're just learning with each other just now. So I think we stand a good chance.
So I want to talk to you about something that I think a lot of North American fans didn't think would happen, which was that North American teams in this tournament went 1-7 in match scores. CLG Prime was the only team that won a game in their group, and TSM recently got 2-0'd today by Azubu Frost. And how do you feel about the North American scene in general right now? You and M5 seem to be doing better. Of course, you guys, did really well in your group. And Najin Sword surprisingly got knocked out by the Type A Assassins, but we'll hold that off for a little bit. So why don't you tell us your thoughts about the North American teams and how you think their strength is right now compared to, say, you guys from Europe and the Asian scene?
Do you mean to say that you were surprised that TSM got knocked out?
I actually cannot answer that, or people will get angry.
Well, to be honest, I was actually hoping we played against TSM. Like, I hope we drew TSM first in the quarterfinals. I wanted to just shut them up a little bit, to be honest. Because I'm really frustrated with MLG Anaheim. Like, I really wanted to beat them there, and we didn't. And I wanted that kind of revenge, and we didn't get that. But I'm glad. I expected the North American scene not to do that great, to be honest.
Interesting. So, for people who may not remember MLG Anaheim, do you want to describe some of the issues? You actually had sound issues in the games that you played TSM there. So, do you want to fill people in on why you wanted revenge before they got knocked out here?
So basically, we went TSM won 2 games. We won 1 game against MLG Anaheim. But one of the games, we had no sound whatsoever, no end-game sound and no voice communications, and we actually beat them. At this level of play, if you can beat a team without sound, it doesn't really speak that much volume for the team you're against. So I really wanted revenge against them, and it's sad we didn't get it here. Maybe our next chance is IPL 5 to play against them. But I really want to I think they're really arrogant. I'll be honest. I think TSM's quite an arrogant team, and I'm glad Frost kind of shut them up a bit.
So you guys are coming into tomorrow's game, and let me see about the brackets here. So you guys actually will be playing Frost in a rematch of the OGN Summer Championship. So, well, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on tomorrow's game. I would actually like to talk to you about what happened at the OGN Summer Championships. You guys were up 2-0. You lost the series 3-2. You seemed to make some interesting picks. Froggen, I remember, said that he hadn't really played Diana as a team with you guys. He had played a couple times in solo queue. So can you describe kind of what happened in that series and how you felt about it and how you're adapting to, if you beat World Elite, to play Azubu Frost tomorrow?
Well, I think, for example, the OGN championships, we're going into the game thinking we had a 50-50 chance of winning. And when we took the first game, we took a solid first game. The second game, we took a solid second game. And the third game, we were actually winning the majority of the game. And we were at a point where we couldn't lose the game. And the third game, we were like, we couldn't lose it. If we just didn't play stupid, we would not have lost that game. And then there was a point where Wicked just guesses GA and then like 5E1 dives them like as a glass cannon Jace and just goes straight into them. And we actually, we had that game and we threw it. And I think it just snowballed from there. And coming into the blind pick game at the end, where we were convinced that Diana was OP. That was like, we were pretty much convinced. Like Froggen was convinced, and we all were. We're like, Diana is pretty strong. Coming into a blind pick game, you have no bans. We had to take Diana, we felt. Because if you picked Anivia, they would pick Diana, and Diana would counter it. Turns out they didn't even pick Diana. And we didn't pick our strongest mid, like Anivia. So I think we shot ourselves in the foot there. We probably could have. We did play bad the last 3 games, but all credit to Frost. They're a great team, and they deserve the win, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, so what are you looking for if you beat World Elite tomorrow? I mean, I don't know if you're thinking that far ahead yet, but you guys have both the advantage and disadvantage of playing your game kind of on the last day, so other teams don't really have a chance to prepare for you. You know, if you lose, they'd be facing World Elite, but you don't have a chance necessarily to prepare for other teams. So are you looking forward to facing Frost again, and do you think you can beat them?
I think it's not a case of preparing yourself against a specific team. It's preparing yourself as a team. Like, I think at this point in the game, if you can convince yourself as a team that you're strong enough to beat anyone, like look at Moscow 5, they don't prepare specifically against a certain team. They work out their own strategy, their own team comps, and they're confident enough that they believe if they can perfect their own strategies, they can win. And I think it's the same with us. We approach it the same way. We don't in-depth research the team we're against or the team we might possibly be against. We feel confident enough in ourselves that if we can play our potential, we'll beat anyone. But it's whether or not we can play our full potential.
I mean, it seems to me that you guys do have an advantage. Obviously, you picked up 2 games against Frost pretty easily before you said like throwing that series, and it seems like there's a possibility, a strong possibility, I would say, in my judgment, that you guys could get into the championship next weekend. So I actually want to move away from that for a little bit, and let's actually talk about your current living conditions. You guys are in the CLG mansion here. How have you found that? Has it helped you gel as a team to be? I mean, you guys have been living together for a long time now in Korea, but has your practice here in LA been successful? Have you accomplished your goals in terms of practice and scrimmaging?
Well, it's certainly in Korea. Korea was wasn't specifically for the OGN tournament. We wanted the gaming house environment, and we wanted to get close to the team, and we definitely achieved that by going to Korea. We all learned our strengths and weaknesses. I mean, we spent 2 months in a very close proximity, a small room in Korea with 5 computers. We stayed for 2 months and had maybe two like big arguments. And I think that's quite impressive for 5 guys, especially like 20-year-old guys. I think that's quite impressive. I think we definitely came a lot closer, and we gained a lot out of that compared to some of the teams that haven't had that opportunity. We came a long way. The only thing I would say leading up to the World Finals is we have been traveling quite a bit. We went to Taiwan, China, but a lot of tournaments and stuff. We hadn't had much, the most amount of time to prepare for it, but the environment we had against CLG.EU, we had like one upper hand. We had an in-house team, like a B, well not B team, but a second team, a sister team to play against, and that was like one advantage for us because anything we did was all in-house. Yeah. All the so we could even go to them and discuss, what did you think of that? And they would tell us, that sucked, don't do that. Work on this. That was really good, like wow, you guys should do that. Like things like that, we had the chance to discuss with them what they thought when we won the game or lost the game. And that's a unique opportunity that we had that a lot of teams haven't had.
So I've noticed that when I've talked to Hotshot about this, but he says that working with you has really helped his jungle, and he also said something very interesting, which is that your kind of jungle champion pools have become very similar through working together, and I've seen you use a lot of Cho'Gath as well. Do you have any comments on like how working with Hotshot has helped your jungle, or how being in the same house with him has helped you at your own position?
I mean, I appreciate Hotshot as a player. I wouldn't say I appreciate him as a jungler quite yet, because he's still in his training wheels in a sense. He's still like picking up speed on that. I've been playing jungle now for almost 2 years. He's been playing it for what, 5 months or something like that now. He's not really had a chance to have so many tournament games under his belt, and when you're in that pressured situation where you have to make tough calls, he's not really had that in a lot of situations. So he's still learning. The Cho'Gath thing, like season 1, I played a lot of AP Cho'Gath. That's one of my it was fun. I played it in solo queue for fun. And when they made the rupture changes, which made it a lot stronger to jungle him, when they changed the rupture thing, I was like, I want to play Cho'Gath. It actually adds a lot to a team. You have a feast, it's true damage on a tank, for example. You have a lot of CC with your knockup. You have an AoE silence, which like can almost 3 seconds silence. That's really powerful in team fight. The hardest thing is landing those things, but it's a really strong jungler.
Great. I've been in esports for about 8 years now, and what I find very interesting about you in particular is that you're from the UK, and there are many of the very famous teams. So I was in Warcraft 3. Four Kings is a very famous team from Warcraft 3 that was based in the UK. You have Dignitas, which is a UK-based team. So a lot of the actual administration comes from the UK, but very few professional gamers do. So I would like you to talk about how it is being a gamer from the UK, because I'm interested in the perception of pro gaming over there. And did you feel it was hard? And do you think that pro gaming is on the rise in the UK?
I think the pro gaming scene in the UK is mostly centered around consoles, and that comes from as a childhood. Not many people are playing computer games. Mostly it's all centered around consoles. You see, there are actually quite a few professional console players, but not that many professional computer players. I think that's one of the problems is we're all stuck in the console age. We're playing Call of Duty and things like that, and FIFA and Trackmania and things like that, all in the, or not Trackmania, sorry, but those kind of games like FIFA and Call of Duty, for example, they're all stuck on that. And I think it's kind of, as well as some kind of an elitist aspect in the pro gaming scene in the UK. I think a lot of them are like League of Legends. Why? But it's one thing me and Odie discussed. You know, Odie from Dignitas. We discussed that with him. He's like they're very elitist in a sense. So they look at League of Legends like it's not StarCraft. Like why would we want to play that? But I think I'm very fortunate. I've not actually had my chance to make much of being a pro gamer in the UK. Like as far as publicity goes, I wanted to do a thing with the BBC and try and incorporate more into the community, do some UK stuff. But I've been traveling so much, I haven't had a chance to do any coverage on that and expose it more, so more people can get interested in it. I did do a thing with the UK community. I wanted to establish a UK community and make it a website and bring the community closer together. But I've been so busy in the last year that I haven't had a chance to develop that, which sucks. Maybe when I get in Season 3, when I'm a bit more situated in the one place, I might have a chance to do that. But right now I'm just far too busy.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because I know you were interested in kind of building this kind of UK PC gamer community that hasn't really existed. I'm interested that you say StarCraft, because in my mind, the only UK StarCraft player that I think about readily is DeMuslim. Yeah. And he was a Warcraft 3 player as well, so I'm surprised to hear about the elitist thing in the StarCraft world there.
Well, I know there is only DeMuslim really. Is Killer American or is he English?
I don't know.
Killer?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I don't know what nationality he is.
Well, I think it's more when they look at esports, they don't. It's a big thing in esports. They look at League of Legends. A lot of them think it's not a serious esport when you compare it to other esports like Dota or StarCraft. And I think a lot of the thing was to try and convince them that it is an esport. There is the same principles. You are a competitive team. There is the same objectives. There's a lot of things that you have to understand that make it competitive, and it's an esport. They can't say it's not an esport, to be honest.
All right, and so I'm to wrap this up. Basically, I've been focusing kind of accidentally just by talking to Cloud Templar and Hotshot earlier today about training practice, and I know that you in particular on your team put an emphasis on your physical training and eating well, and that's a main concern of yours. Can you speak to why that's a concern of yours, and do you think it really helps you as a pro gamer?
I think if you're going to sit at a computer 10 hours a day, it's not healthy. Straight up, it's just not healthy sitting 10 hours a day. You have to have something to combat that. So I like to, for example, I go out and run, or I like to go to the gym and work out, get in shape. As well, it's not even just that. Being healthy is one thing, but as well as when you're in front of all these people, you're essentially a role model in a sense. So you want to try and look good. You want to try and appear good, and hopefully influence them positively. Because the whole thing about nerves is you sit in your room all day, you play video games, you don't look that great. That perception I don't think is right. I think you can balance it really easily. You can be a healthy professional athlete in a sense, because that's what essentially we are. Coming into Season 3, there's a lot of money in it, and you have to practice. You seriously have to practice. These teams, the Korean teams, us for example, when we were in Korea, we're sitting 10 hours a day in a room, seriously thinking about every single thing we're doing. It's a lot of preparation. It's not just log on to your computer and play some video games. There's serious training in it. And as an athlete, I think you should try and do everything you can to improve your mental state. And I think you achieve that by doing exercise.
Well, sure. I mean, I think it's foolish to think that there is some sort of separation between the body and mind. If the body is healthy, then you're going to be able to think and be more alert. It's just it's simple science. So yeah, I'm really impressed that you, in particular, take that to like the actual level and take it very seriously, because I think that a lot of the Korean teams have training regimens that incorporate periods of physical exercise, and I think it's great that you do it as well.
I think, like, for example, the Korean teams, this is mandatory. Like, every single morning, they must go out for an hour and do some gym work. For example, we went to TPA, and we spent 6 days with the Taiwanese team, Taipei Assassins, and every single morning we got asked to go to the gym with them. They either had the option, they could go swimming or they could go to the gym, and they had to do that for an hour every single day. And I think it's very impressive. It really does clear your mind. Like, it wakes you up in a sense. When you do that in the morning, it wakes you up, and you're actually you're clearly thinking about the day ahead. Whereas if you wake up, you're like, oh, I was going to play a game. Like, you get a sense of waking up and feeling fresh, and you can approach the game more positively.
Well, plus, when you think about the game all day, it's very difficult to, when you start on that note and you end on that note, there's not a lot of break to kind of think about something else, because you can get clouded and get kind of caught in ruts. So finally, now that you mentioned Taipei Assassins, I think many people, they used to be quite strong. They used to be considered one of the best teams in North America, and then they kind of fell out of favor. But now they just destroyed Najin Sword that went 3-0 in your group. How do you feel about the Taipei Assassins?
I was a little surprised. I thought Najin would take the series. I think it would have went to 3 games, but I thought Najin was going to take the series. I mean, we scrimmed against TP, and they actually had their scrim record against us was better than us against them. Like, they were out ahead of us. So I do know they're a really strong team, but I thought Najin had the edge. After coming off the momentum of beating us, I thought like Najin was going to snowball. So I was very impressed by TPA in the sense that they pulled it off in 2-0. It wasn't just like went to 3 games. It was 2-0. So it was really impressive. And I hope they can do good against Moscow 5. Like, I wish them the best of luck against Moscow 5.
Should be a very intense match. Well, thanks a lot, Snoopeh, for the interview. I really appreciate it. We'll see you around. Good luck tomorrow, man.
Thanks, man. Peace.